Good evening, y'all. It is October the 6th. It is October 2025. It is also Nail Yakupov's 32nd birthday. And so to celebrate, we have brought a good friend of the show, Tony Ferrari of the Hockey News and many other whatever hockey endeavors he's involved in. Tony, welcome back. It's lovely to see you. How are you? How was your summer? You know, how's things? What's up?
I'm good. I feel like we should have had Dylan Griffin on so we could wax poetic about how good Nail Yakupov is over the summer and how wonderful he looks in the KHL and how he should have been an NHL superstar had Edmonton not rushed him. But
I think Dylan has a lot better things to do than that. Honestly, he seems to be
he's
listening
a loser.
Listening
might
to
call
his
you bald, Tony. That's what he might do.
Yeah.
Oh no, he calls me what everyone else calls me. Heaven forbid. I get that abuse from my children.
He's off listening to his Yemeni post-punk hardcore band.
Yeah.
With 50 monthly listens on Spotify. He's too busy for us right now.
And he's all 50 of them.
Yeah, and he's all 50 of them. But that's cool, you know? Usually he doesn't miss when he sends me music takes. But anyway, we're not here to talk about that for real. Welcome, Tony, to the show. It's a whole new year, whole new era, you know. I guess the first thing we should do, because this was the biggest news of the day, and I think we'd be remiss not to say it, but the Connor McDavid extension is on the tip of everybody's tongue. $12.5 million for 2 years in Edmonton. I mean, AJ, also, I'm sure you have thoughts about this as well.
I do,
especially being a Toronto fan. So I'll let whoever speaks loudest and first take it away, because I have thoughts as well.
Let the fake Italian go first.
All right.
Oh, that's so sweet of you.
Yeah, that's.
I
so
really
nice.
thought we were going to be talking about how Jacob Quillen was put on the Leafs
No,
roster. instead
we're
of
not going to
Easton
talk
Cowan.
about that. We're not going to talk about that.
But no, with Connor McDavid, I mean, it's so stupid. Like, let's be honest. The guy was like, you know what? I know the cap's going up exponentially over the next couple of years. I'm going to take 2 more years of exactly what you've been giving me. But at the end of the day, this is the most prove-it deal I've ever seen in the world for the team.
Mm-hmm.
This isn't a Connor McDavid prove-it deal, obviously. He's the best player in the world. But this is a prove-it to me that you're capable of, 1, possibly getting me a goaltender that's capable of stopping a puck, and 2, surrounding me with the number I'm currently at. Because if he does win in the next couple of years, that $25 million per year cap hit's going to look real sick in Edmonton.
Look, I'll say this. AJ, you remember me going on a very spirited rant about my distaste of Connor McDavid because of
As a human? Yeah.
Well, because because of the correlation between lack of personality and talent at hockey. And how it's like,
it's wonderful.
It's because you're like the most incredible athlete the sport has probably ever seen, the most exciting player the sport has ever seen. If he were to play for the Los Angeles Kings, he would be a billionaire by now. I would bet you whether he wanted to do TV interviews or not, he would be on Jimmy Kimmel every so. He would.
That's why. That's why players stay away from LA. They don't want to get taxed.
I'm pretty sure the tax differences between Alberta and LA are not. You know, he could probably get $20 million a year from an NHL team, right? For probably the same term.
I'm just.
I know, but if Tony, if you were an NHL team, would you throw $40 million over 2 years at Connor McDavid or no?
I mean, why not? Really? Like, the reality is, like, you're not wrong. He is, like, if you were to compare his personality on the ice and just the sheer force and braggadociousness in the creativity and in the wonderful imagery that he gives us on the ice, if he had the personality he did off the ice that he does on the ice, he'd be Deion Sanders, and that would be fantastic. I would love hockey's version of Deion Sanders, but unfortunately, the closest thing we get is like NHL Face-Off giving us 45 minutes of the Kachucks during a Leafs episode, and then Mitch Marner yelling without sweat in his hair. So,
right,
like, we don't have personalities like that in hockey, unfortunately. So, I don't know, man. Like, I would love it if Connor McDavid had a personality, because right now he's Connor McDavid. If you put him in a bookstore and you put a cardboard cutout right next to him, you could not tell which is which. The guy has so little personality. I love watching him play hockey. I never want to see him speak out loud.
I mean, I will say I saw on TikTok he did do a blind power ranking of Friends characters, and he did a pretty decent job
cool.
of that. Yeah, he
Like,
did a
he
pretty
put
decent
Ross
job.
last?
Yeah. He did that. He did that. You know, that was fun. But I mean, look,
I
I
also
think
saw his house tour where he had a heated driveway.
yes,
So cool, man.
Hey,
I love your
I
decor
mean, look,
of black
okay,
and
whoa.
white.
I'm stopping you. You cannot tell me that a heated driveway is not cool.
It is cool.
If you
My
came,
grandmother had a heated driveway 10 years ago. I don't care about a heated driveway.
I
House was
never,
like a morgue.
I've never encountered a heated driveway in my life. Maybe that's a
house
Windsor
looked like
thing.
It's not a Windsor thing. It was a my grandma decided to be ridiculous thing. But no, his house looked like a scene from Dexter, and post killing. It was horrifying.
The black marble wasn't your type, you know? You didn't like black marble.
I
Anyway,
don't mind black marble, but like put a flower on it or something. I don't know.
This has gotten way off track here. The Connor McDavid contract is I don't even know what to say about it. Like the words, it's crazy. Like there are simultaneously no words I have to describe how I feel about it, but all of the words that exist probably also describe how I feel. I just cannot believe, like, I mean, it's so weird how there are people out there who are so like, hey, you get your money, you know, you're a professional athlete, you're not like that forever, go get your money, go get for your money. But then there are people out there who I think rightfully at some point go, okay, but like, what's the difference between making $12 million a year and $20 million a year? But at the same time, it's like $8 million a year, like that, you know. Do you want to have a university built and named after you, or just a library? Right. And hey, to some people, maybe that matters, and to some it doesn't. But I mean, I agree. It's a show me deal for the team that is paying him. And I think it's so crazy to me, though, that Jake Wallman gets a 7x7 on the same day. He is paid 1.3 Darnell Nurse's. It's the same percentage of the cap as Darnell Nurse's contract when he signed. Like,
and we all know that went well.
It's just absurd. Like $5 million less than Kirill Kaprizov, or 4.5, whatever it is, right? Like it's mind blowing, and it's like he must really believe that the Oilers can do it. I mean, look, they've been to 2 straight Stanley Cup Finals, so they definitely have something going right. I don't know. I am fascinated by this. And also, like, AJ. Yep. Toronto Maple Leafs, their core guys, they didn't do this.
Well, it's
like,
not, but it's not 1-to-1. I just think
it
that
isn't.
This is maybe the greatest player of all time, potentially, and he wants to win. I respect the hell out of this. I think it's awesome that he did that. It takes a lot to say, you know what? I'm going to work for less money, but I want to win. And I appreciate it, and I think that's as far as my thoughts go. I just respect. I respect the move a hell of a lot. Everybody's got their reasons. Like I will never punish anybody for like I want to go out and make more money. $1 bill Kirill, don't care. Good for him, man. Honestly, good for him. Good for him. But this is what McDavid wants, and like I'm cool with it. I think it's great. I think it's honestly awesome to see that. It's the coolest thing he's done. It's just mind blowing. It's just mind blowing stuff to me. Like I don't think it's mind blowing. If you're that if you're competitive and you want to win badly, you take less.
I mean,
not everybody does that.
Nobody else is doing that.
Yeah, but he's made $12.5 million for so many years, and he's not taking a pay cut, really.
Which is insane.
But here's the thing: he is taking a pay cut.
Yeah, he is.
Like, he's taking a pay cut from what he's worth.
Yes.
And he's taking a pay cut from the actual cap percentage of what he signed on his last deal.
And inflation.
Leon Draisaitl is making more money than Connor McDavid right now.
Yes.
And listen, I love Leon Draisaitl, but the fact that they signed their deals like a year and a half apart and Leon's making more is blowing my mind right now. Like, listen, he's trying to win, but he's a loser.
Oh, jeez. All right, I wouldn't go that. I wouldn't go that far.
But
if anything, it's the opposite. He's too much of a winner. Like Connor McDavid. Connor McDavid going into the first year of this contract will be the 4th highest paid player in the league.
Yeah,
like $500,000 more than Mitch Marner. Like that is that is wild to me. I mean, hey, good for him for making that decision. I mean, it's just very out of left field to me. Like he had a blank check, and I mean, even like the Steven Stamkos extension that I remember from back in the day with Tampa, where he did go to UFA and took a deal that was pretty affordable, relatively speaking, for his value. This still just like blows it out of the water, I think. Like I just, especially
So
now that Kaprizov is up at 17, like that's a new marketplace, and he has 11% of the cap for a guy like that is nothing. Like that's nothing.
So here's my question going forward is, are we going to see other people? We have two contracts that are like landmark contracts. We have the Kaprizov deal and we have the McDavid deal. Which one do we see players follow? Like, are we going to see players on winning teams follow the McDavid model, or are we going to see, like, are we going to see some sort of blend of it? Are we going to see teams that are in the middle of the league, like middling teams, sign their guys to those $17 million deals, while guys on winning teams, because it has been somewhat of a trend with Tampa and Florida of guys taking less, and no tax state, and we can get into all that at a different time, but those guys did take less, and now Connor's taking less to stay in Edmonton. Are we going to see that more often? Like, that's my question. Like, I'm not expecting Matthews, because now Matthews and McDavid are up in the same summer. Like, that's going to be really, really interesting.
I think you have to think about it if you're an agent. Like, that's the thing that kind of blows my mind. Like, it seems like this summer, the NHL and their agents in the NHL have gone so many different directions. Like, how many young players have we seen get ridiculous contracts?
Oh, yeah.
With very little track record, serious track record.
That's a crazy one.
Like Frank Nazar got locked up 7 years or whatever it was at it's a reasonable contract. I'm not saying it isn't, but I'm saying, like, on the other hand, you have other guys who are fighting tooth and nail for like a decent deal, and it seems like teams won't hand them out. You have some agents who clearly want to value, or their players want to value money. Right, like Austin Matthews, 13 and a quarter. William Nylander, 11 and a half. You know, these are big number deals. But then all of a sudden, you have Connor McDavid coming in. So it's like, if you are an NHL team, I think it does give you a point negotiating wise to go, what, do you not like our team? And the agents can go, yeah, we're not Connor McDavid. Like, sorry, we're not the nicest guy in the world, apparently. Like, I
the
just
nicest and lamest guy in the world.
Like, and he has the same agent as Austin Matthews, right? So the same agent negotiated the, at the time, most expensive contract in the league, I believe, and also literally the biggest steal probably ever in the league's history. So it's like, it's not up to the agent, right? Like, that's clearly Connor McDavid going, I don't need a raise. Keep me where it is, spend the money, go get people, and let's win a Stanley Cup.
That's
which
admirable.
Is why it's wild, but it is admirable, you know. And yeah, I guess you could say that it would be nice if more people did that.
But they don't have to, and we should not hold them to that expectation either.
No, I mean,
I don't want any of them to. Go get your bag. Like, I want, because the more they pay these players, the more interest people are going to have. Like, part of the reason the interest in the NBA was going up was not only was the product fantastic, but the drama of a guy signing a 2-year deal like LeBron and going, I don't know where I'm playing in 2 years, but you've got me for 2 years here in Cleveland. Let's win a title, and then I'm leaving to LA, and then I'm going to Miami, and then I'm going to do this. Like that, those rolling short-term deals and the constant churning out of contracts for these big names is a big deal for fans.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I know Gary Bettman likes to go, fans don't care with the salary cap. They don't need to know the numbers and all this goofy stuff.
We care.
Fans are so interested in it. They're so dialed in on it, and stuff like this is going to get people talking. Like, I mean, there's a reason we're talking about it, right? There's a reason other people want to know about it. Yeah. Like Connor McDavid signing at 12 and a half, as silly as it is, and he probably could have gotten like 20 over 2 years, but like he put the Oilers to the test. He put them to the fire. There is zero excuse now. If they don't find a way to win the cup, there is no reason for Connor McDavid to stay after these 3 years. Right. Like, if they don't win the cup, I don't think he stays. I think there's zero chance.
So I mean, the Oilers are poised to be able to make some really big additions then in that case, right?
Yeah.
Like the thing is, like, Matthias Ekholm is expiring this year. He's 35. That's a huge part of that team. So that's going to be a big hole to fill.
And
assuming
still a good part of it too.
Yeah. But I mean, like at 36 years old, right?
Yeah,
Like if he does extend, is he going to be the same at 37, right?
Probably not.
Brett Kulak is expiring. You just extended Jake Wallman and doubled his salary. You know, Darnell Nurse is signed until 2030 at 9.25. Evan Bouchard, 10.5 until 2029. Like right now, right now they have $834 of cap space, and the only guys that they really have to sign again next year, like, are maybe Ekholm. Stu Skinner needs a new contract. I'm assuming they're going to keep him around, I guess, because they have no goalies otherwise. Him and Pickard are both expiring. So you're looking at, you know, a pretty decent amount of money going around, but like they're still going to need to make it count. And I'd be very curious to see what that means. I mean, man, it's just they're a good team though. I mean, I'm not going to fault them. They're a good looking team. I just the funniest thing to me was Chris Johnston tweeting, "Oh, it's going to be under 15 million." Like it's going to be a 2-year deal under 15 million. And everybody seemed to go, oh, okay, fair enough. Right. You get a little raise, 14, 15 million bucks, like whatever makes sense. And then it comes in at literally a pay cut basically. And it's like, oh, all right, then got it. Okay. So it was insane.
There was someone in the Edmonton market a few days ago that was like, oh yeah, like McDavid signing a deal that's 2 to 4 years. And it's going to be between 16 and 21 million per year. And everyone's like, all right, like, cool, we're getting him signed. Like, if you're an Edmonton Oilers fan, like you've got to be so happy right now. Like, I was gonna say some other things.
If you're unhappy, you're insane.
Like lather your body up in oil and just have a day.
Yeah,
like you're having a good time if you're an Oilers fan right now. So I don't know, man. I think it's a win-win for kind of everybody, right?
Yeah.
David's not tied in for the next 8 years. If he wants to get out after, and they still can't figure it out, because at that point, like, let's be honest, at that point, this is a guy that will have been with that team for over a decade, and if they can't figure out how to make the cup final, but win a cup, then he needs to go. Like, I would want to go too.
Well,
like, I think the same thing of a guy like Austin Matthews. I think the same thing of a guy like Kirill Kaprizov. Like, unless you're getting $17 million like Kaprizov did. Like, if you've been there 10, 12 years, hey, like, this team clearly hasn't shown the capability to do it.
Even if you go to the Stanley Cup 2 straight years, right? Like, even if that's the case, which is also wild.
When you look worse the second year,
yeah.
I will say to close this out, I thought it was very funny. I saw a clip today, I think it was from the Steve Dangle podcast, where they said they found out live that contract happened. And Steve Dangle said that Connor McDavid should be the first NHL player to play in an arena that has a statue of themselves out front. And I think that's absolutely true. Like, they should be building a statue of Connor McDavid out front like tomorrow because of the gift that he has given to this team.
Yeah.
Like, it is
with all the extra money they've saved.
Exactly, right? Like, you build that statue
It doesn't
with
count against your cap, so it doesn't
$16 million that you didn't spend over the next 2 years on Connor McDavid. Like, I just can't, man. Oh, I like to be able to make a decision like that and still come home with $12.5 million a year. Like, to your point earlier, Tony, like, I don't even know how many players in the league would even like want to do something like that. Like, to the same extent, right? Cut your value in like by 40%, maybe 50%.
Not a lot of guys are in the position to do
I don't think, like, that means you're a $10 million maybe player next year, like, and you get $5 million, and you're like, yeah, I think I'm cool with that. Like, I don't think that's gonna work. But
like, I see in the chat, someone's like, oh, Cale Makar could take that kind of contract.
I don't think
like,
he does.
Does he though?
Maybe, but
like, he already kind of took that contract.
Yeah, that's true.
Right?
Yeah.
Like, he
very quickly.
He signed that deal, and then Darnell Nurse signed his deal, and then other guys signed their deals. And like, listen, I think Cale Makar is better than just about every defenseman in the NHL.
Absolutely.
And guys were getting paid more than him a month later.
Yeah,
And
immediately.
guys that were not even close to as good,
Oh,
Yep.
like Darnell Nurse on Edmonton.
Darnell
Yeah.
Nurse
So-
is not a third as good as Kel McCarr.
I would open my wallet for him and just say, here, write a number and how long you want to
Yeah.
be here. Like and I would have done the same to Connor McDavid. Like,
Yep.
so, I mean, hey, Oilers fans, like, enjoy the next couple of years because, I mean, you better,
Been
because
pretty fun, anyways.
it has been. Absolutely. They're a fun team to watch through all of it.
Can't always win.
Can all win. Well, I mean, not many teams have been able to, in capital W, win except for the Florida Panthers.
What's the Brian Burke saying? He checked with the league again, and they're only awarding one Stanley Cup again
Yeah.
this year.
Yeah. Also, like,
I
yeah,
love
the
that.
odds of winning a Stanley Cup are so small and so slim and so silly. Like, but hey, this gives them a really good chance to fill in the cracks, add a goaltender, fill out the defense a little bit better than it is. Find a way to move forward after Ekholm was such a huge ad for them, and he still is a very good part of that team.
Oh,
but that's going to be an interesting thing to figure out because he finally gave them some stability on the back end. So did Kulak, I would say,
Mhm.
from what I
Yeah.
remember. But like, it's, if you have the money, I feel like there are better solutions out there longer term than an Ekholm at 35 years old. But time will tell. I mean, but I just did not know I honestly spent a long time today thinking, okay, tonight, what are the words I'm going to say? How do I feel about this? And I still don't really know. It's just too all over the place. But I'm sure now that there's a decent group of people in here, they probably don't want to hear us yammering on about Connor McDavid for 2 hours. Actually, unless they're Oilers fans. And if there are any Oilers fans in here, I don't know what you're doing here.
Because we don't
Yeah,
care
I mean,
what
him.
Rayan says. Just make
Yeah.
the thumbnails and make them faster, please.
Yeah, exactly.
you.
So we have Tony here for anyone who's unaware, who the third person on the show is. And Tony, we have two things I think we can go through while we have you here, while trying to keep up with the chat, which are rookies in the NHL. There are some interesting names cracking NHL lineups for opening night. We'll see if they stick, but
We're not talking about or not.
no, we don't need to talk about Jacob Quillian, but
Stealing a spot from Nick Robertson. That is.
oh man.
Hey,
Yikes.
I watched Nick Robertson on Saturday night in Detroit live,
Hell
and
yeah.
he looked like the best AHLer on the roster.
Wasn't it their AHL team playing? Was it?
Pretty
Or-
much.
Yeah, okay, got it.
It
Okay.
was like Callie Yarncroke, Nick Robertson, and Easton Cowan, who is
Right.
an AHLer.
Yes, as of today. Okay, but you have a binary choice now. We can either go to the NHL, look at the rookies, guys from this past year's draft, or some guys that have popped up, or just go straight into 2026. How you're feeling, what's going down. Where are you feeling your gut going this evening?
Let's talk rookies real quick, because there's some interesting, like, obviously Demidov is Demidov, and we've talked about Demidov a million times, so we don't necessarily have to dive in on the guy likely to win the Calder.
Right.
But there's a lot of really interesting rookies that made rosters out of camp.
Yes.
Braden Coots, your boy Kindle, guys like Sam
Matt
Dickinson.
Green.
Yeah, Matvey Grindin. Like
Steve
there's so many
Williams
guys.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's
Emmett
so
Finney.
many.
You saw Emmett Finney?
Finney. I saw Emmett
First
Finney
line
live.
winger. First line winger.
line with Lucas Raymond and Dylan Larkin.
Awesome.
And I haven't seen a player do one single thing so consistently since Austin Matthews, William Nylander, and Zach Hyman were aligned in that rookie year, where Zach Hyman did not have any ability to do anything with the puck. He just stood in front of the net and then hunted pucks in corners. And that's exactly what Emmett Finney did. And you know what? When you're playing with Lucas Raymond
Yep.
and
You can
Dylan
get away with
Larkin,
that.
God
you
love
can
you.
do that.
Yep, you can do it.
Because he was super annoying in front of the net, and then he was super annoying in the corners.
Yep.
And when he wasn't in one, he was in the other. So it let those guys have the puck a lot, which was fun to watch. But
That
yeah,
is
like
wild.
there's some weird rookies in the NHL this year. But it's a fun group. Like obviously you got Misa and Schaefer. There's a lot of guys. Z William. Who's my question to you, William?
Yes.
Is who would be your dark horse rookie for this year? Is it Sam Rinzel? Are we gonna have to follow through on a very dark saved chat in our group?
I really liked what he did down the stretch of the season last year with Chicago. I mean, I thought that he looked immediately very, very comfortable at both ends of the ice, especially offensively. The numbers that he drove in a very limited sample relative to some of the other guys that were on that defense group in Chicago. Like, Chicago, in my opinion, is so desperate for guys who can lean a little more offensively, reliably, without sacrificing too much defense, because so many of those guys are just plugs. Like, not, I don't mean that in a derogatory way, but like, they literally are like a plug in a bathtub. Like, they will prevent the water from falling out, and like, they are there to do a job, and they do it fine, right? Like Del Mastro, and like Vlasic's really good at that. Louis Crevier is hanging around, like whatever. But like a guy like Renzel can bring a little bit more of a leaning thing in the offensive direction, and I thought he looked great at the end of last year. But I mean, I don't know. I mean, I watched as much of the preseason as I could going into this year. I really liked also what I saw out of a Ville Koivunen with Pittsburgh last year. And you want to talk about a team that has room for young guys to actually play and knock out some veterans who have jobs. Like, Pittsburgh is a pretty good example of that. And I think he's on paper on the first line. Like, he played with Sidney Crosby last season.
Yeah.
And I think that that's I mean, hey, you play with Sidney Crosby, you're going to have a good time. So I'd throw him out there as well. You know, a guy like Jonathan Lekaramaki, you throw him out on a power play and he scores 30 goals, just banging shots in. I mean, maybe there's some momentum there. I don't know. Do you have anyone in mind that might pass your smell test?
We talked about Connor McDavid earlier. So whichever one of Savoy and Isaac Howard end up playing a lot with him this year would be fun.
Well, Howard's in the minors, so
I know that, but I think,
idiot.
Let's be honest. Look at the Edmonton Oilers roster and tell me that he's not going to find his way back up there.
He's not going to find his way back up there.
Oh,
James Hamblin will.
Okay, now that you brought up James Hamblin and Louis Crevier, you're just making names up from an NHL 25 like
honestly
player thing.
I would love it if the NHL did, like, you know how they do first team and second team all-stars and like all that stuff?
Yes.
I would love, did you even know this guy was a player teams? Like, yes. Guys who even prospect.
Why don't you make it?
I should do that. That's true. But like, even guys were goof-offs like us who follow guys from when they're 17 through 25 don't know who these guys are. It's like, I have never heard this name in my life. Where did this person come from? What is even happening here? I'm sure there are more than one, right? Like, who's the guy that Colorado called up? They drafted him in the 7th round. Nikita Prishkipov. Like, I 7th round pick already in the NHL. And like,
you know who's going to be on that team in 2 years? Emmett Finney.
Hey, we know his name though. Like, hey, James Hamlin.
You know who is on that team? Zakhar Bardakov.
Yeah,
Zakhar Bardakov.
Yeah, I don't remember much about him at all.
I remember so this is my whole tie to Zakhar.
Oh, Ryan Shea. Like, what is Ryan Shea? Who is that? I don't know who that is. I can't tell you if he is a valuable member of the Pittsburgh Penguins or not, because I don't believe that he's real. So like, that has always been very interesting to me. But yes,
Denmark and Australia, they're not real.
Right, they're not real. Yeah, we know that. Yeah, we know this.
Even if we do have an Aussie viewer.
Yeah. We got a couple. There's a few. They're floating around.
Yeah.
But anyway,
we love you, but you're not real.
But yeah, I agree though, to your point, the original one, like Matthew Savoy, I thought also looked great in the limited time he got in the NHL last year. And I think he's penciled in on the second line in Edmonton. Awesome. Something like that. Nice. And yeah, I'm very excited to see him as well. I don't know. Do you have anyone else in mind?
Not among the dark horses. Like, there's a lot of bigger name guys coming too. Like, I mean, Zane Parekh has made the roster. We're gonna see him play and make mistakes and make some highlights. Like, that's what he does. Like, Zeke Williams, fantastic. Like, there's a lot of really interesting guys. Like, Ryan Leonard's gonna be fun to watch. Yeah, I feel like right now, like, there's a lot of guys that people were expecting to make NHL rosters. Gabe Perreault, for example, who didn't. And then there's guys who no one expected, like Finney or Gridden and they made it, and we'll see how long they last. It's going to be fun because that's what I think. I feel like this year, at least more than others, and maybe I'm just wrong on this, but I feel like this year more than others, there's a lot of guys that I'm like, oh yeah, like I could see him getting 9 games, but like there's zero chance he's making the league for the full year.
Yeah, I mean, I Berkeley Catton cracked the Kraken. Apparently,
awesome.
He's going to be in the lineup at least for the starting point. Both guys Toronto traded at the trade deadline last year are probably going to get decent roles on their teams now. Fraser Minton and Nikita Grubionkin. They're both going to be playing. The Rangers are going to play Noah Laba. It seems that he's on the roster. Which, I mean, knowing Laba was an interesting one because I remember watching. I had never heard of him when they drafted him, and when I went and watched him, I went, "Well, I could see why an NHL team would draft this guy." He was just big, zipping around and crushing guys, and I went, "Yeah, okay. If this guy plays in the NHL, that's kids. If you're watching, here's your formula: become above 6 feet tall, skate like the wind, and don't even bother with the puck. Just crush everybody, and you'll go far." Like, someone will notice if you are faster than most of the other guys on the ice, bigger than most of the other guys on the ice, and just pound the opponents into submission.
Most of the other guys on the
yes, yeah, like easy peasy.
Or all of them, actually. Yeah. So it makes sense for me that a guy like Noah Laba could eventually crack an NHL team, especially with some skills training and some development. So there's always that as well. I also like the odd one out that I don't know if he'll stick, but Justin Sourdif, I think, is on the opening night roster for Washington.
Oh, yes.
And I think that could be a really sneaky good pickup for them. I've always really liked Justin Sourdif, and I'm surprised it didn't work out in Florida for him, honestly, but I don't think he's a player that I would expect. Like, who would I take off of Florida's forward group to play him? Based on what I've seen of them, I don't know. But Sourdif in Washington, I think Spencer Carberry could make something work out of a guy like that. I mean, there's others. I mean, but I mean, it's going to be, there's an interesting crop of young players entering the league this year, assuming they stick or they don't. The Islanders obviously have Schaefer, but like Maxim Shabanov is an interesting player who's coming over, and we'll see what he's capable of. The Devils, they've got Arseny Grutziuk, one of the OG scouching boys, yes. Arseny Grutziuk, finally in North America. All eyes are going to be on Ivan Demidov, but there's going to be a lot of other ones. You were just at the game in Detroit, and you saw Michael Bronsek-Nugard, and he's been excellent.
He was
from what I've seen,
fantastic on Saturday. Like, he was the guy that I'm like, man, if you could put him with Larkin and Raymond, he could do everything Emmett Finney does and more.
Yeah.
Like, really, I thought Bronsek-Nugard was maybe Detroit's best forward for most of the night that night. And it's a preseason game against Toronto's AHL team, but like, MBN is, I loved him in his draft year. He was a guy that when I was using Detroit's picks, he's still one of the only players that I've ever picked with Detroit's pick that they also picked. Yeah, I've gone differently every other way. But yeah, like MBN, he's smart, he's physical, he can forecheck. He's got a great shot, and I think he's going to work out really, really well for that Wings team if he keeps on the roster the full year. Assuming that he gets a chance away from Kopp and Comfer at some point.
Yeah. Yeah, I could see that. I mean, also a brief shout out, because we've loved this player for years, but Gavin Brindley cracked the Colorado Avalanche roster, it seems, out of camp. And I watched a bit of the Avalanche in preseason a little while ago, and that guy can ball out. I think people writing him off are wildly. People even were talking to me last year about Bronsek-Nugard maybe not having the best season last year in Sweden, and I just go, yeah, you know, you just believe in buy the dip then, I guess, at that point, right? Because he has turned out to look pretty darn good. Ryan Green is on the Chicago Blackhawks roster, which is an interesting turn of events. I've liked Ryan Green. I'm a little surprised at how quick, but the skill is there and the size is there. Like, he's got a lot for him in the right direction, I think. So that could be interesting. The one that we probably should mention that we haven't yet is Beckett Seneca is seemingly going to crack Anaheim. I'm not sure why you would send him back to junior, even if he might not be there yet. I saw a bit of him in preseason as well, because I was curious about the Ducks. The Ducks are very quickly becoming, for me, one of the most intriguing teams to watch this year, for sure. But yeah, so Seneca is probably the last one that I wanted to mention. I mean, Brady Martin also in the NHL. I should also throw that one out there. But Braden Coots also cracked an NHL roster. Like, it's crazy. This year's been wild.
The 2025 class has like 5 guys from the first round making rosters.
Yeah,
which is crazy to me because like
I did not think that was going to happen.
I didn't think it was going to happen, and I don't think it's going to last. Like
No.
I wouldn't be shocked to see at least a few of them go back to the junior hockey team that they're with. But man, like for a class that no one really liked, that I thought I was a little higher on than most, like it's turned out to be a pretty good class, at least in preseason this year. And yeah, Belchetz, he's the perfect example of a player that they're trying to get that AHL age limit exemption, whatever you want to call it, lowered to 19 for one player per team, because he's a guy that I think you send him to the AHL and that's where he probably develops best. Because like you go back to the OHL and he's going to torch it. He's going to look disinterested on a lot of nights, I think. And then you go to the NHL and he's probably going to be a little bit overwhelmed. I caught a couple Ducks preseason games, and the one I remember specifically going, man, like Seneca looks like he's trying stuff. It's just nothing he tried work that night. And I think he's a very good player, but yeah, I think it's going to be up and down for him, I think, this year.
Yeah.
If he sticks with the Ducks the full year.
Yeah. I mean, I would think he would, because he can't go. The AHL thing is for next season, right? So, right. Yeah. I mean, I someone also mentioned in the chat that the discussion about Noah Laba earlier, that's basically AJ Spellacy. And he almost made the team last year out of camp, right? Like, if you do that, you can play. People will find a way to move you up the ladder if you do those kinds of things. But yeah, I mean, I'm excited. I think you're right. I mean, someone also mentioned that Ryan Green's only playing because Landon Slaggert is injured and Lucas Reichel might get waived and who knows what happens. I mean, okay, but still, like, he's gonna, like, they're playing Ryan Green. Like, that's a pretty interesting idea, and he's an interesting player. And hey, we're just happy these kids are living their whatever dream, especially if we like them and it makes us look smart. Because then it's correct and we're all set. Anyway, I think we can. It makes us
correct. It makes us.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. It makes us correct, and it makes the team smart. Yeah, and we agree with it. I guess we can pivot into 2026.
Yep.
It's a new season, brave new world. You know, it's only October. I've already pissed off thousands of hockey fans.
I was about to break out into the Civ 5 opening song when you said Brave New World.
Yeah, no, let's not do that. Yeah, stop it.
I'm done. That's it.
No singing. This is not a music show.
I know. We don't want to get another copyright claim for music like we did on the birthday TikTok stream for EU4.
That's true. We did EU4 soundtrack. Brutal. Anyway, what were we saying? Yeah, so it's a new season. 2026. I've already pissed off thousands of people about Gavin McKenna for sure, and now he has 5 points in his first 2 games, so I'm an idiot.
You're an idiot, man.
I'm a damn fool.
I'm
a damn fool. I automatically undo everything I said. And he's as good as the points he scores. You know, we'll call it that. But I'm half kidding. But anyway, Tony, I imagine you've also been hard at work getting a lay of the land here, a landscape. How are you feeling about this season compared to a year ago around this time? What do you feel is out there? How you feeling about this group? And if there are fans in the chat whose teams are not looking so good and they're already halfway on the wagon for getting ready for the draft, what can you tell them?
It's a good draft. I like this draft. It's last year I thought it was a good draft because there were a lot of players I thought would be NHLers. Maybe not superstars beyond the top few guys, but there's a lot of guys I thought could play a role on an NHL team. I described it a few times last year as it was a middle 6 draft in a lot of ways. You got a lot of middle 6 guys, a lot of second pairing guys. Like, you weren't getting that top pairing, the top line guy. This year, I think there's some guys that can play on top lines. I think there are some really impactful players throughout this draft, and it's going to be really interesting to see how they develop throughout the year. I mentioned to you earlier before we came on when we were texting throughout the day that I was upset that I had heard that you put Lawrence at number 1 at one point and ahead of McKenna because I think Lawrence is like my top tier is 3 guys right now, and it's the same 3 guys I think you have at the top tier. It's Preston, McKenna, and Lawrence, and I think Lawrence, he hasn't played yet, and I want to see him play. But man, that's a kid I watch and I just get excited for. And obviously McKenna's incredibly skilled, and this 5 points showed how big of a dummy you are. But
Yeah.
really, like, this is a top end that's really solid. I really like it. I could almost include Ivar Stenberg in there. I love Ivar Stenberg. He's been a guy I've liked for a couple of years now, and now that he's in this draft year, I'm like, oh baby, like what are we going to do in the SHL? How is his game going to develop throughout the year? There's a lot of really fun players, and then you have the defensemen. I think there's a really interesting group of defensemen because I think Verhoff is kind of solidifying himself as the number one, at least to start. But I think Malte Gustafsson, Xavier Villeneuve, there's Ryan Lynn's up there. It's a really interesting draft, and I do have one thing to say, because last year I came on here early in the year, I think my first episode, and I claimed the QMJHL is back.
You did,
and then I went back on my word and said it sucked again, and I still hold true to that. The QMJHL is not good. I watched a bunch of Q guys, or at least a few Q guys before coming on today, just to refresh and see Villeneuve and see Dagenet and a few other guys. And the QMJHL is still the QMJHL. Villeneuve is good. Dagenet is interesting. But I think Villeneuve is, and I know you're going to hate this, Will, because you love him, but I think in our discussions, you have admitted there are times you want to pull your hair out. He is everything you want from an offensive defenseman, in the mold of a Lane Hudson, a Quinn Hughes, that kind of guy, with the hair pulling out moments as well. But man, I wish he was playing in the OHL or something. I wish he was doing this in a league that had some structure defensively. Because I watched him walk around 3 guys today in a game, and none of them were moving their feet. Like, what are we doing in the QMJHL? With that said, I would like to announce that there is an area of the world that is back, and that is Finland.
Let's go.
With that said, I'm be on here in like a month saying they all suck again. But I have really enjoyed.
Give it 2 weeks. That's when we'll have you back.
I've really enjoyed the start of the season for the Finns. There's a number of guys that have been really fun. Verti Svensk is a guy that I was texting you about the other day. He's a fun, interesting little fella. Piiparainen, I think his name is, he's solid. Oliver Suvento I love that kid. He's been fantastic in a couple of viewings I've had of him so far. And then you watched him at the summer tournaments and stuff. And he was great there too. So Finland might be back. Like, I don't think they're going to produce a top end guy, and whoever they're going to promote for the next couple of years. And who do we see posts about this Finn that could be the first overall pick in 2 years or something like that? Like, we're just getting another one of those.
Yeah.
But
is he the best 13-year-old in the world?
Yeah, I know, right? Like, maybe we don't get a first overall pick, but I think there's a couple of Finns that could crack a first round possibly this year.
I mean, the thing I think about Finland this year is that there are a lot of players who, like, the problem recently with Finland is that the national team, the style of play has stayed the same, but they don't have the players that can play that style. Like, the generation of Finns that we've seen go through the system just are not really, like, you've got like it kind of was the last ones I remember were like Yanni Newman and Lenny Haminaho and like these guys who kind of play that sort of heavy but like pretty skilled and technical sort of, you know, plodding but productive game. And that's just how Finland seems to like how to play. And I think they have a bunch of guys who just can do that really well. And in general, like, I think the European group of defensemen, like, a lot of people are talking about the North American defensemen, guys like Verhoff, obviously, but like Villeneuve, Lynn, you know, all these other guys, Chase Reed. I liked Chase Reed a lot in the game that I tracked. But the thing that I am really interested too in is, like, don't lose sight of the European defensemen. Like, there are some really good ones out there who also project pretty well to the NHL. William Håkansson is playing in the SHL full time and playing some decent minutes, and I liked him. A little more limited, but like, I think he's an NHL player maybe one day. Axel Elofsson is a really exciting player. Yeah. Malte Gustafsson, you mentioned. Juho Piiparainen, top 5 pick to Craig Button at the moment. I don't know about that, but a really intriguing defenseman. Verti Svensk, like you mentioned, I really like him. Nikita Sherbakov in Russia, I've really enjoyed watching him. Albert Smițs is a guy who is playing in
Yeah, I was
Finland,
going to bring him up.
and he is a riot to watch. He is a ton of fun. It's like there's a lot of players that, you know, as is the case every year, there's a lot of focus on North American hockey. There's a lot of focus on the OHL, and especially now that there's a lot of Americans that have made the jump up to the CHL, like a lot of eyeballs are going to be on this North American group of players. And I don't know, man, like the Europeans I've seen that are stuck in Europe are certainly looking pretty solid, and there's going to be a really intriguing group here. I mean, yeah, I mean, Stenberg is obviously the one kind of leading the way there, but yeah. And I will also say, before handing it back to you, I will step up and defend the Q a little bit here. I mean, Villeneuve, I mean, go back and watch him at the under 18s. That was awesome. That's kind of where I kind of sat back and went, okay, this kid's legit. Like, it's not just, you know, not just him playing in Quebec, but, you know, I'll hand that hesitation over to you. But I think a guy I've really liked is Yegor Shilov with Victoriaville. He's a guy who I've liked, just a ton of skill, and, you know, already off to a really, really good start relative to his team. And I mean, Maddox Dagenet, like I watched him not too long ago, and we were, I think he is a really good example of exactly the type of player that we've been talking about with like Noah Laba and AJ Spellacy, like big, heavy, but good skaters, and crash, bang, boom, simple play, you know, get down low, throw the puck out in front and call it a day, with, you know, moments here and there of interesting skill that you might want to capture and develop. And I look at that and I go, when am I started thinking, like, what's the likelihood of this guy being an NHL player that might actually work in an NHL system? And where do you start drafting players like that? And to me, like, that happens relatively quickly, right? Like, I mean, I personally might devalue a player like that a little more than others, but that happens pretty quickly in general. So someone also mentions Charlie Morrison in the chat. I like him too. He hasn't played a game yet this year, but he's been another one that I've liked going back to last season. Like even in Slovakia, there are guys playing that I thought were pretty impressive. Adam Nemec and Thomas Franco. AJ, you and I watched a game of Mate Stankoven together in Brantford or Brampton.
Yes,
we did.
He was
Logan's cousin.
Right. Yeah. No,
I don't think so.
No,
they're unrelated.
Yeah, because I remember Will saying they weren't.
They're not. No, they're not. And the other one I'd say,
half a second, Tony, a bass.
Yeah, like there's a lot everywhere, really. Like Slovakia has some good players. Finland has some good players. Sweden has some good players. No, but I mean like good. Like not that you know, like Adam Sikora is an option, but like other than Nemec and Slavkovsky, like maybe I'm forgetting somebody, but
Mashar, even though he's not as like
right.
kind of was in his year.
Yeah, but like there's a lot of really interesting players pretty much everywhere. Maybe not Germany.
Shrenko.
Shrenko. Yeah. Tobias Tomic is in Vancouver, and I like him as well.
Sure, people would also argue.
Yeah, Dvorsky. Yeah. Simon Katalichki.
Yes.
In Tappara is another one that I've noticed. I was watching. What is it? Vilho von Hatalo? Something von Hatalo today, and Katalichki was on a line with him, and they're both like 6'4", 6'5", and I like Katalichki more, but those guys are crash bang boomers, and Katalichki is a really intriguing player as well, really young as well. And I mean Suvanto, like it's I don't know. You could disagree with me, but for me, I feel like this month, I'd say I feel a lot better about this. Like I look forward to my days a lot more than I did 12 months ago.
Yes.
You know, and I think there were some players that kind of took a little bit last year to like hit the radar and stay there. Like Ben Kindle around now is when I kind of started really liking him and all that stuff. And that kind of got me jazzed up. You know, Michael Sverchek came along for me a little later, but other than that, like last year, I mean, I agree. I think last year's class, there was a lot of sort of that middle of the lineup, projectable, basic, solid dudes up and down your lineup. We're seeing some of them make the lineup already. And it just kind of dropped off real quick, and became sort of, I don't know, territory real fast. And this year, I feel
Chicago drafted a quarterback in the first round.
Right. Yeah. I mean, I think things are looking a lot more promising. Like, I'm scrolling up and down my list here, and I'm like, into the mid-second round, there are names here where I'm like, I'm intrigued by this guy, whether I've seen them, tracked them, or whatever. That's a pretty good thing. I think that's a pretty good sign.
Yeah. What I'll say is this year's been really interesting because most guys I've watched, I've went, oh, like, I'm impressed by them. I'm enjoying watching them. Especially the Europeans. You mentioned how strong the European class is this year all over the place. And I think when I've gone in to watch some of the North American guys, there are certain ones that I'm like, yeah, like, there's been a few that I've been disappointed by, or a few that I already didn't really like that kind of confirmed like they haven't changed much over the summer. And then with the Europeans, like, there's a ton that I'm like, you know what, like, maybe Oscar Hurlbert isn't the best, most well-rounded player, but like, there's some stuff that he can do that's really fun. Marcus Nordmark, same thing. Like, Elton Hermanson, I watched him the other day, and I just had a blast watching him. Like, there's a lot of guys. Vladimir Dravecki is a really interesting one. You mentioned a bunch of the Finns. Even a guy like, you go up and down, there's so many guys out in Europe. I watched Niels Bartholdson today. And you know what? Like, he isn't the best player I've ever watched, but there were these flashes of skill in really intriguing moments that I'm like, you know what? Like, if he builds on this, like, there's a player there. So I think it's been fun to watch the Europeans this year. It definitely is a class that I'm enjoying more as a whole at this point than I was last year, because I think there are guys that if they take a couple steps in certain areas, they can be top 6 guys. Whereas last year, like, very early on, I went, oh man, this is the Braden Coots draft. Like, there's going to be a ton of dudes who play third line, and they're really good third liners, but they're third liners.
Right. Yeah. I mean, it is very intriguing, the players available this year. Like, even going, you could even go deeper. Like, I've liked Adam Anderson in Sweden quite a bit every time I've seen him. Alexander Command I was watching, or it's probably said with more of a Swedish accent. His last name is probably not Command, but at the end of the, I'll ask Mikhail Holm after the show and get a pronunciation from him. But in any case, I mean, that's a kid who he was centering the line with Nicholas Arm Olsen, and I was writing down a lot more about Alexander Command than I was about Nicholas Arm Olsen. No disrespect to him, he's a good player too, but I definitely was noting Command a lot more. Yeah, and Adam Anderson is probably Adam Nome is Nome, something like that. He's a depth guy in Frölunda. And I actually asked our resident Frölunda scout about him, and he said he had a good camp and a good summer and like all this stuff. Like, he's a guy that they're kind of curious about as well. And I've really liked him watching the Swedish Junior League. Like, there's a lot of really interesting guys out there, like, really interesting for one reason or another. And I don't think that can be said about this past draft. I mean, well, sorry, this just caught me off guard because I was scrolling up and down my database here, but I did not realize that Rocky Langvard has played 5 games in the SHL to this point this year. I did not expect that as a re-entry, but nonetheless, we'll get back on track. A lot of really intrigue, and we haven't even spoken that much about the North Americans, right? So why don't we like do this? You know, let's start at the top here. You mentioned that you have your McKenna, Lawrence, Preston top tier. I have the same. What is your reasoning behind that, and like, what put you in that headspace? Now, for full disclosure, Tony and I do talk a lot of the time, but by and large, I feel like we're pretty independent of one another, right? Like, it just seems like I think we see things similarly and like value and prioritize similar things.
I think one thing that both of us do a really good job of is not really showing each other or seeing each other's lists really until we release them whenever we do throughout the year. Like, every once in a while we'll be like, oh yeah, I have Ethan Belchetz at blank or whatever, right? But like, we don't really give out the full lists, and most of our like deep conversations are centered around one player, and it's not really about where we're ranking them. It's about like what we see from this player or why we're disagreeing or agreeing on a guy. It's I think we do a pretty good job of, yeah, like you said, keeping it independent. But yeah, like it's that top of the draft it's so interesting because I look at Gavin McKenna and the guy puts up a ton of points and he plays like a kid who's too good for everyone else on the ice. It's almost like not physically because he's not bigger than anyone at all, really. He's like 100 pounds soaking wet, but he plays like an older brother who's playing with his younger brothers. Like he accidentally got like recruited to his younger brother's baseball team to fill in, and he's just hitting dingers. And it's kind of what Gavin McKenna is. He's always the best player on the ice from a pure skill perspective, and he relies on that heavily, and he shows up every time, and he does some amazing things when he has the puck on his stick. But there are times where I watch him and I'm like, he's just kind of hanging around, waiting for something to happen, waiting for the play to kind of come to him. But when the play comes to him, he's dictating it. Like when the puck gets on the stick, he dictates what happens. And you value a guy like that because if he ever does get that extra gear, like he's going to be unstoppable. Like that's the kind of high end skill you see with him. With a guy like Tynan Lawrence, I think everything you don't see from Gavin McKenna, from a motor, from an effort, from a just drive perspective, you see from a guy like Tynan Lawrence. I think there's so many things in his game, from the little details to the effort, to the way he pressures guys, the way he attacks. It's really, really impressive, and he's so smart about it too. I feel a lot like when I watched Tynan Lawrence play this year, at least when I've watched older games because he hasn't played yet this year. I feel the same way I did about Michael Misa. And I think that there's such an intelligent player. He's such a good two-way player, an underrated two-way player, I think. And I think there's just such a complete center there that you could be getting. And I have a hard time ranking him lower because he does everything I want to see from a player at his age. We'll see how his scoring goes at the USHL level this year with Muskegon, because it's going to be really fun to watch there, I think, because they've been good without him so far. So when he gets back in that lineup, it's going to be really interesting. And then with Preston, there's a guy that he's so fun to watch because he's so electric at the WHL level. He's really high in skill. He plays with pace. He's got a great shot, and he's distributing the puck so much more efficiently this year. He's using his teammates a little bit more, which is really fun to see. Like, because this was a guy that last year I'm like, if he used it, like I almost in the same way I talked about Matvei Michkov in his draft year, I'm like, if he used his teammates more effectively, the levels to his game could grow so much. And I think with Matthews Preston this year, you're seeing him use his teammates more effectively. And I'm not making the one-to-one comparable to Michkov, to make that very clear before anyone jumps on that. But him using his teammates is elevating the rest of his game so much more. So when I see those three, they're three different flavors of a player that I really want on my team. And I just, for me, Lawrence is probably the guy I enjoy the most from a pure watching perspective, because he does everything I want. Like, I don't ever really look at Lawrence and go, he's being a little lazy, he's not doing this, he's not doing that. Where the other two guys, sometimes I do, especially McKenna. Like, everyone's talking about McKenna as the surefire number 1 overall pick. And listen, like, he's probably going to be. Like, I remember Owen Power's draft year, and everyone was like, he's the number 1 guy for sure. And if you don't have him there, you're being you're looking for attention and stuff. And sure, maybe, but like, Matty Beniers has been better than Owen Power. Like, other guys have been better than Owen Power since they've been in the NHL. And it's kind of proven the few people like you and I that didn't have Power at first overall right. With Gavin McKenna, I'm not saying he's Owen Power, but I think there's always room to critique a player when they're not perfect. And Gavin McKenna is not a perfect player. There really isn't a perfect player.
I think that's an interesting launch point too, because I will admit I'm going to be tracking the second game from this past weekend that McKenna played. I watched the first game. We actually watched it together in our Discord server. So if you ever want to do something like that ever again, that's the place to do it. But we watched that first game, his debut against Arizona State. Also to watch, our boy Cullen Potter play a game and have some fun with that too. But I mean, look, the thing about McKenna, and I said this like a quadrillion times last Monday, a week ago, when I mentioned that I had some questions about him. Like, I also said he has not played. That is a luxury that other guys like Preston have had. Lawrence got to play at the Holinka tournament. McKenna did not. So that was always going to be a caveat. And so I was very intrigued to see what a McKenna looked like after a summer off and a first game back. I think when you look at a guy like McKenna, when I saw him on Friday night, I mean, I saw a better version of him. I think that McKenna has gained a step with his skating ability. I think he is finding space off the puck a lot more effectively than I remember last year. Granted, the Memorial Cup is, I don't know about level of quality between Memorial Cup and Arizona State University, but I get the feeling though that McKenna looked more reliable, but at the same time, it's a very intriguing discussion, right? Like there's gonna be, like there was a discussion about it in the Discord server about this before, because it was like, how do you value players that give you a lot and you wish you had more out of them in other areas, relative to players that give you a really good amount no matter where they are on the ice, no matter what happens, right? Like, you know, it eventually became like, would you rather have a Nikita Kucherov or a Matthew Boldy? And it's like, you know, it's easy to say Nikita Kucherov because the guy scores 100 plus points every year, and everybody knows he's not the most active defensive player, but you put up with it for 100 points. But then you look back, and like for me, it's like at 24 years of age, Kucherov and Boldy had very similar seasons. And Boldy's numbers were unbelievably good on a team that was worse than Tampa Bay last year. And I love what Matt Boldy brings to the game. And so it's like, I'm not saying that either is right, really. Like, obviously, it's very controversial to be like, maybe not a Kucherov. And it's, you know, if I could have a guy scoring 140 points, I'm taking the 140 points. But all things being equal, the point I'm trying to make is like, this is why it's important to like weigh the ups and the downs, and and it's why this is so hard to do, because like there are many different ways a player can play this game. And I think especially a guy like Tynan Lawrence, like someone in the chat at the top of the show was like, how much do you see sort of a guy like Nico Hischier in a Tynan Lawrence? And I honestly don't remember enough about Nico Hischier when he was a draft eligible to give you a good answer on that. But what Tynan Lawrence does bring, from what I've seen of Hischier as he is now, he does bring a lot of the same energy and the same output that I would expect out of Lawrence. He doesn't have the skill and finishing ability that a guy like McKenna has, but is that a bad thing when you look at the whole sum of the parts? Like someone mentions in the chat that McKenna's a little slow end to end, and that's the issue, right? Like you have a guy who I think has gotten a step better with his skating ability, a little bit quicker. He's getting up the ice a little bit quicker. He's making things happen a little bit quicker, which is kind of what you want to see. But he is a player that's, you know, prone to skating into pressure, prone to sort of being a little bit more of a lapse defensive player. You know, a lot of his production I think 2 of his 3 points this past weekend came on the power play. And like you put Gavin McKenna out on your power play, he's automatic. Like he's just going to find a way to make a play, right? So there's that. So yeah, I think it is a discussion, because I also look at a guy like Mathis Preston, and I mean, AJ, we talked about this last week, but the name that comes to mind for me is William Nylander. And it's that superstar level skill and that ability where you just know people are going to look at a player like that and go, well, he must suck defensively. He must not really care that much defensively. But it's, you notice
That's
when
not
things,
true, though.
but it's because you notice when things aren't going well for a player like that, because things go well so often.
Overwhelmingly.
Like it's so impressive so often that when they try something and it doesn't work, people immediately go, well, then this guy must actually not be very good or unreliable. And
but Preston actually goes back and gets it.
Yes.
Which Willie didn't do until more recently.
Yeah. And so, yeah, like I that's kind of where I sort of sit there and look at at those guys and sort of think, how much value does someone like that bring as well? And I think that it's a perfectly reasonable discussion to have. And especially as the next month or two goes, I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if Gavin McKenna scores like 30 points next month, because they're playing like Stonehill and LIU, I think, isn't like they're playing a pretty soft schedule.
And for the next rankings that come out that people write, the gap has widened between Gavin McKenna and all his competition.
Right. Yes. Yeah.
Being
that's
stated
absolutely
just because of Boyd, right?
Yes.
That was probably too harsh, because I was sleep deprived and a little bit out of it when we did the first one. I'm a little calmer, a little more even keel now that I've sorted out my sleep. But I like Gavin McKenna. There's just moments where I go, man, can't you just do something simple instead of trying to make everybody look stupid? Like, you could be so awesome if you just, hey, head down a bit more and do the simple thing.
Yeah.
So I just pulled up Gavin McKenna's schedule for the next month, and these are the teams that he's playing from now until they play Michigan State on November 7th. He's got Clarkson for 2 games next, LIU for 2 games after that, Stonehill for 2 games after that, and then there's a step up to the Big Ten where they play Ohio State, which isn't always a power.
Right.
Like,
that's a fine team. Better than
it's a fine team.
Yeah.
It's certainly better than Stonehill. But then they play Michigan State, Michigan, Minnesota. Like, we're going to see Gavin McKenna and whether or not he's the player people think he is in November. When they go 2 against MSU, 2 against Michigan, 2 against Minnesota, and then they go back to playing like RIT in the new year.
Yeah.
So it's going to be interesting to see, because he's going to beat up on those teams like that have the 20-year-old OHLers that end up going there because they're done with the OHL now. But he's going to get tested in November when he starts playing those better teams. And that's going to be when I'm really starting to key in on whether or not he's as special as everyone thinks. Because I remember watching the World Juniors last year and going, like, there were moments where I thought Gavin McKenna was their best forward, because that wasn't a great team. Let's be honest. But we haven't yet to see him pull his full game together and showcase himself against everyone. And I think that's the thing I was looking forward to this year with him going to the NCAA, wasn't whether he's going to score. I had zero doubt whether he was going to score. It's whether he's going to be able to stand up and play against a guy like Shane Vansagi, who's going to be physical on him, who's going to push him against the boards, who's really going to battle and win that, try to win that puck. Is he going to go in against a Michigan team that is big, fast, and strong? Like, there are teams in the Big Ten and in college hockey that have a lot of physical players. They have big players. They have fast players. Gavin McKenna hasn't had to really deal with that. The WHL is probably the best of that among the 3 CHL leagues, but the NCAA is a step up, and I want to see him deal with the physicality. I want to see him play within a more structured system, which he should be doing at Penn State over the next few months. And I want to see him do all of the things that have nothing to do with the goals and assists that show up on the score sheet, because I have no doubt he's going to do those things. He's going to score. That's not a question for me. Can he do the rest of it and become the true superstar that everyone thinks he can be? And I think he has a shot for sure. But the other thing to remember is this isn't a center. This isn't a guy that's going to go in there and be the 6'3", 200-foot center that can do everything. He's a winger. He's kind of always been a winger, and he projects as a winger. So can he be Patrick Kane? I don't know, maybe. But like, there are teams that are going to want. I know I've seen it all over Twitter, people talking about Tynan Lawrence being Jonathan Toews. Okay, if you want to make those direct comparisons, do you want Kane or Toews as the guy on your team? And that's kind of where we're possibly at.
Yeah. I mean, I think I'll also just like say this, like, my whole thing with him being McKenna revolves around what is my confidence that, like, I look at guys like Preston and Lawrence and I go, even if I am pre-scouting these guys and I know that they should be targets, is there anything I can do to slow them down? Like, what is my ability? What are the holes in their game? Or is it just try? Like, is the counter for guys like Preston, just do your best? Is the counter for a guy like Lawrence, just do your best? Because I look at a guy like McKenna, and I think there are ways to pre-scout a Gavin McKenna and go, this is like he could score 100 points in the NCAA this year, right? Like, if that happens, that's great. It would be awesome. But for me, it would be like, okay, I want to see how he generates offense and like how he deals with these situations, like you said, against these bigger, heavier, more physical teams like a Michigan State, especially, right? Like, I will be very curious to see how that goes, because if I'm a team that is playing against a guy like him, I can figure out some holes in his game that I might be able to exploit, force him to challenge me one-on-one more often than he probably would like, right? If you give him open space, you're dead. Like, so that is the thing I would revolve my analysis around, is like, do not give this guy room. If he is on the boards at high in the defensive zone because he's a winger, so he doesn't necessarily have to get back into his own zone too far, but like he still doesn't really do it much anyway. Like, you pin him down in that area. You get in his space and like try to block him as a breakout option, and that can nullify a lot of stuff for him. And so it's like this kind of thing that you know, if there are those questions that I have, that's kind of where I go, I think there's at least a discussion to be had. So we'll see. I mean, I thought he played really well though on the game that I saw. I'm really excited to watch him from Saturday night. Again, someone also mentioned in the chat earlier, it's like, how do I feel about calling him a bust, which I didn't. He's number 3. He's number 3 in the world for me right now, and it's just a matter of maybe he's one. I have all the time in the world for it, but I got to be honest, I have less questions about a couple of other guys when it comes to NHL level hockey and playing what I think drives really good results in the NHL on a consistent basis.
The situation I thought of when you were talking about Gavin McKenna there is, do you want Mitch Marner in the playoffs? When things get tough and things kind of get physical, like, Mitch Marner disappears a bit. And there's been a struggle in Toronto for the last few years, and now he's gone. And the Leafs are going to have to figure out what they're doing without him. And there's a lot of change in that organization. And the question is going to be, is that a Mitch Marner problem? Is that a Leafs problem? And we're going to see that this year as both teams probably get into the playoffs and Marner plays with the Vegas Golden Knights. Because a big problem for Marner was when they get physical, specifically teams like Tampa in their prime, Boston in their prime, Florida now, when they get physical and they start getting a guy like Marner off his game, does he have the ability to battle through it? And that's kind of what I'm looking for with a guy like Gavin McKenna. Does he have the ability to battle through a guy that is just a relentless forechecker, a guy that is just going to be relentless on you, a defender that's going to let you get the puck and then beat the crap out of you in the corner and take it back from you? Like, those are the things that I'm looking for with Gavin McKenna, because like, Marner scored 100 points. He's a 100-point guy. He's going to be a 100-point guy. He's a fantastic player. I don't think anyone believes he's not a good hockey player. But good hockey players don't always win. And I think that's the really interesting thing about the NHL's evolution into beating the crap out of each other. So it's going to be fun to see McKenna go up against these Big Ten teams. Michigan State, like I said, plays Notre Dame later in the year, and see how he does in those situations when he is going to get forechecked and he's going to get attacked on the forecheck by defenders as he tries to go in and get pucks. He's going to get pushed around on the boards. When he tries to be there for the breakout, there's going to be people on him right away. It's going to be interesting to see teams try to take away his time and space, because like you said, when he's in space and you give him that time, he's going to rip you apart because he has that skill.
Yeah. I mean, AJ said it perfectly last week. It's the gifted kid syndrome, where you are clearly chosen by God to be extraordinary. And
I appreciate it.
I agree, especially because like it's hard to be truthful because
you were a gifted
kid. That was me. Like, I was doing algebra textbooks from grade. I didn't have to study for a math test till I was 16. I was doing algebra in grade 6. I was like, I finished my school's French curriculum in grade 6, and I didn't have to. I took French literature all the way through high school, and I didn't have to really do much until I was 16. Like, but then it hit me like a brick wall. Like everything that I kind of could get away with, I couldn't anymore.
Yeah.
And it was like, oh, now I need to learn how to study. I need to learn how to do this and this and this. And I can't just get by off my own intellect. You know what I mean? Or like the advancement that I've had when I was younger.
Yeah.
And I think that that is a
hit me too, man. Hit me too.
it is a reasonable, I think it's a reasonable thing that I think people go through, and athletes do it as well. And I think that it's not to say that it's like impossible to overcome it and figure it out.
It's not, but look at the guy who we talked about off the top of the podcast who turned 32
Nail
today.
Yakupov.
Yeah. Some guys don't. Some guys don't shake it.
McKenna, I don't think is a Nail Yakupov. Hopefully not. But yeah,
it's just an example of talent not meeting, and not to say that Gavin McKenna isn't a hard worker, but like not meeting hard work and working hard through adversity. Because it's easy to work hard when you're getting all the praise in the world, and people are telling you they love they love the smell of your crap. All right, but when people start complaining that it's stinky, then it can be tough.
I think something just popped up in the chat that I do want to bring up on this subject as well, and then I think we should move on to some other stuff. Sure. But someone mentioned, like, how would you compare McKenna to some other flashy draft picks, like guys like Demidov and Seneca? And like, it didn't take very long for me to look at an Ivan Demidov and not really be that concerned about his. I don't think Demidov and McKenna are necessarily similar. Like, I think that Demidov had the advantage of real unpredictability, and the advantage of a level of energy, and like, honestly, you just kind of sit back when he has the puck the whole time and you go, what in the hell is this guy gonna do? Like, what is he thinking on? And you cannot figure it out, right? Like with McKenna, he does a lot of like cutbacks. He drags you into the corner and stops up on you. He pulls the puck behind his back. Like, he has a bag of tricks, but it's not there's something about it that's different.
It doesn't happen as fast, and it's just not as
threatening. That's a big part of it, right? It doesn't, and I think that's changing. But I mean, Seneca
better in the NCAA, I will say.
He did. Yeah, I think
than the Memorial Cup Finals, he looked way better in just playing at the actual pace of the game. Like, I came away a lot more impressed that first game.
Yeah, and I think with Seneca, I think he falls somewhere in the middle. Like, I think Seneca is a less skilled version of kind of what we're talking about with McKenna, I think. And that's fine. You know, that you can do that. But I think that he falls in the middle there, where it's like he has the raw talent to score and do a whole bunch, but it's going back to the gifted kid thing, right? Like, you have in my view, you have the choice between a gifted kid and two kids who work constantly and study and grow, and like, they've always just had to, it just hasn't necessarily always been there.
They
for
have
them.
the habits already.
They have the habits, right?
To succeed. You got to build successful habits with Gavin McKenna. There's a lot of talent, and there's a potential for him to be like insanely good in the NHL if the hard work, and like, let's say, again, not saying that he doesn't work hard, but working hard on the ice every shift, like getting that mentality into your game and just becoming that. Tynan Lawrence and Mathis Preston are hard work. Like, that's their game, a lot of it. So like, it's what it's built around, and then the flash with Preston is a bonus to it. McKenna is right now all flash and points, but that's okay. That's okay. You just got to build off of it.
Yeah, that's the thing. It's like we're not. It's the same thing as with Owen Power, right? Like, I remember when Owen Power everybody was talking about he was Victor Hedman or whatever, and I remember just being like, he's not a bad player, but the wrong team will destroy this guy because there are holes. Well, I don't want to say he's destroyed, but he's still very similar.
He's not that much different.
No, he's not that much different. And it's like, it's that whole thing of like, there are key areas of the game that are very, very, very important that that are lacking. In Power's case, it was like defensive zone retrievals and just getting the puck going out of his own end. If he wasn't doing it in open ice himself and had a ton of room to do it, it was a struggle.
I remember all the clips you were posting.
Yeah.
It was bad at times, right? Like,
right. Yeah.
And when he did pull it off, it teetered on disaster.
Yeah. And so for me, it's like you have to reckon with that and understand it and weigh it and then know to work on it. And it's like, it's not like saying I'm looking at, you know, I always try to get my analysis around, like, what if the player were sitting right here with me, right? Like, would I say the things I'm saying if the player were right here with me? And it's like, I'm not trying to tell them or tell people that like they suck, you know, like that's not what I'm saying, or that their future is grim. It's like, no, like you have a huge amount of potential, but like there are some things that like need to be worked on here. And I think that's okay. It's just a matter of, you know, like, again, it's a matter of value, because at the end of the day, a lot of people just look at point production, because they're just casuals, right? Like they're not like us. They're not like the people in the chat in this show. They look at point production and they go, how could you possibly not think that? And it's like, because we value things that are elsewhere in the realm of the game that people just don't really think that much about, right? But they're very important.
But you're saying, right? Like, points are a reward for doing good things. Nice.
Yeah, and they don't it's not always, but yeah, that's kind of the general gist of it, right?
Or
anyway,
they're a reward for somebody else doing good things on the ice and you happen to be there. Sometimes that is the case.
Yeah. All right, let's start pivoting here. I want to, before we get into some specifics from chat, because there are some good ones in there too, and what I do want to get to, we're just slow. Tony, I want to throw something at you here. Let's do a 3 up, 3 down for guys that you've seen this year. Throw 3 guys at me where you've gone, I just like them. Like, we kind of want to do the I just like them award for the week. So who are some guys that go, I just like them, and it could be anybody. So have at her.
This is good because I've really wanted to figure out how to get JP Hurlbert into the show.
How could we not?
I watched him today, and there was so many moments where I went, man, this guy, like, there are faults in his game. Very clearly faults in his game. But there is a level of excitement and creativity, and just like, he's always in motion that I really, really value. He's a fun player to watch. I think he's going to need to refine things in his game as he gets to higher levels, but he's a really interesting player who he's cycling out high, he's cycling down low, he's working into the middle of the ice, he's constantly slipping in behind defenders. He does a lot of really good things, and the point production's obviously been really great to start the year, and he's probably going to do a lot of it on the rush, as he has so far to this point, but there are signs that he can do it off these cycle plays, off these little rotations. In the scouting report I wrote on him today in my little notebook, I was like, he's almost like a pick and roll attacker in the NBA. He does little drop passes to teammates and then rotates in behind the defender that's now coming to secure that teammate. So I really like him. I think he's a really interesting player. Do I have him in my first round? I don't know. He's kind of in that group of guys that are like in the end of my first round and the start of my second round, because I do notice some of the absolute issues in his game. Like, there was like 3 straight shifts I don't think he went into the defensive zone. That was an issue. But the fun factor, the excitement there, the interesting way he generates his offense, I really like. So he's a guy I like. What are your thoughts on him, William?
He's on my list for this week. I can't give you a good answer on him. I haven't seen him in the WHL yet. I am familiar with him from his Dallas Stars elite days, which were many moons ago, but I have not seen him much. I haven't seen enough, so I don't want to. We'll have you back on in a couple weeks.
To an instant account either at the moment.
Well, we don't need to talk about that. Or whatever. Anyway, what else you got for me? Maybe someone I've heard of.
Here's a guy that I think both of us have crapped on quite a bit that I was quite impressed with. In my backyard, Ethan Belchetz.
Ah, yes. Windsor Spitfires legend. Yes.
Windsor Spitfires legend, playing on a line with some really fun, tiny men.
Yes, that line is so much fun.
Ethan
man.
Garden and JC Lemieux,
Yeah,
I think, are so fun to watch. And then you just have 7 foot tall Ethan Belchetz fly, like just hulking down the ice. And his skating looks a little bit better this year. He looks a bit more mobile. And I really like what I've seen from him. And I was not expecting that, to be completely honest with you.
Yeah.
So that line in general, I think Ethan Garden and JC Lemieux deserve a little bit of love. And Ethan Belchetz is a guy that I think, where a lot of people were talking about the top 5 of the draft, I still think that's a bit rich, but he's a guy worth taking, I think, in the middle of the first round, and top half even. He's been good.
Yeah, I mean, I was really impressed with his game as well. I mean, I still feel similarly, though, in terms of like, my whole thing with him is he's the type of player, like exactly like what we were saying about Emmett Finney in the NHL. Yeah. It's like you have to, if he's going to be a good NHL player, which I think he could be, you're going to need to like put him with the right guys. Like you said, the guys that he plays with on Windsor are goers. Like, not that Belchetz isn't necessarily that, but like Lemieux and Garden, and I saw a couple of shifts where they were playing with the Kazakh kid that's on that team. They are those guys are like goers. They will make plays quickly. They'll spring you on a breakaway. They'll hit Belchetz with a pass high in the defensive zone, and so he can sort of go off with it, right? So my thing with him is like, if he's going to be a successful NHL player, there is a role for him where he will thrive. But I don't think he's like going to be the guy on his line. But he'll be a very important part of a very good group, right? Like, because there are things in his game that I just think are not there, really. Like, I mean, in terms of like as a puck transporter reliably, and, you know, his physical game, I think, is a little bit more apparent now, but I don't trust the quickness on his feet to really be a huge threat in the NHL. And it's more about how he catches and releases pucks, catches and makes plays quickly, and thinks under pressure, and uses his body really cleverly, and works down low, like all those things that you need NHL players to do. I think he does extremely well. So that I think, and I think he lost a bit of weight this summer as well. He's a bit quicker on his feet.
He looks a little bit more like, I don't want to say dainty on his feet, but that genuinely, he looks like he's not smashing his feet into the ice like last year a lot of times.
Fluid. It's more his game is more fluid than last year for sure. So that's also very interesting to me. So yeah, I agree. I have Belchetz, like, I would say somewhere in the 7 to 14 slot, somewhere like that for me now. I honestly love JC Lemieux as well. I'll throw him out there.
So fun.
He is so much fun, and I think he is, you know, like if this were he fits perfectly with last year's draft class, you know, where it's just guys that could probably play in the NHL and do something and play some sort of checking line role and be pretty good at it. Like, I think he is one of those as well. So I'm excited to he's on my list for this week as well. So I'm excited to get to that, but you got one, give me one more. We'll do one more, and maybe
I'll give you one more. And it's a guy that I think you like, and you mentioned him earlier when we were talking about the Europeans, and it's Albert Smițs. Really interesting player. One of the things I noted, and I was just reading the game report I did on him yesterday or the day before, and I was like, there are times offensively where he's playing like a winger down the wall, and then he pulls into the middle of the ice, and he makes a play, and I'm like, man, like, there's some really, really interesting moments from a guy that's 6'3", 200 pounds, like, does a lot with the puck. He's not a guy that where the offense goes to die. And I thought he had some really nice defensive moments as well. I think sometimes his tracking, once the play gets like hemmed in the zone, is a little bit of an issue. But there's a lot to build off with a player like this. Like a guy that I think in transition, he was making some really nice passes. I think Smițs is going to be a guy that I don't think anyone outside of you and I are talking about him right now, and maybe a few others like that we talk to. But I wouldn't be shocked to see him pop up on lists as we get to the midpoint of the season.
Yeah, I love him. He's a really intriguing development case for me too, because I think the only thing that really is a bit of an issue in his game is I think he wants to play an extremely active offensive game from the defensive side of the game, but he doesn't have that explosiveness to do it.
Yeah.
Like, he doesn't have that or he does, and if he doesn't have that like Lane Hudson skill level where he can sort of shake one way and shake you off, which is kind of what helped with Lane Hudson's maybe lack of that area when he was 17. But with Smițs, like I remember watching a play. I have a game ready to go for this week where he is in Liga, which I think he should stay there, because watching him in the junior league was ridiculous. Like he got the puck at the blue line and just turned his butt into the guy that was facing him, and he was facing towards his own end of the ice and just kind of like shimmy shook once from the blue line and just spun around and like cut into the middle and like fought off 3 guys and just walked his way into like a scoring area. And I just sort of went like, all right, like this is getting a little silly here, man. Like you can just do whatever you want at this level. Like it really reminded me of watching Jesse Pulkkinen the year he was drafted when he was at that level. It just wasn't a good developmental situation. So hopefully he stays in Liga. But that's another one that I also, I've been a really, really big fan of him from what I've seen as well. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. Is there anyone that comes to mind that you really have just not been feeling before we get into chat questions? Like someone who you've watched and you just go, I just feel like I'm going to have this guy as of right now, like a lot later than I think people have him.
The most uninspiring game I've watched this year was from the first overall pick in the OHL draft, Ryan Roobroeck.
Was he first overall?
Was he? I don't know. No, he wasn't first overall. He was supposed to, but then he wouldn't go to certain teams, I think.
That was Schaefer, right? I think that was the
yes, that was
season 07.
Year.
Yeah.
Never mind the 4th overall pick or whatever he was. I did not like Ryan Roobroeck. He was.
Yeah, I didn't think he was very good.
So I usually write a decent sized paragraph. Like I just quickly word count this one real quick on Smițs. It was 250 words I wrote down on his one game. And that's roughly around what I try to write down for these guys. For Roobroeck, I wrote maybe 60 words, and it was just, I don't think he tried once in this game. Like he gave zero effort in the game I watched like a couple days ago. He's big and didn't do anything with it. The shot is nice, but I think I sent a clip to our group chat, and I was like, the puck kept finding Ryan Roobroeck, and Ryan Roobroeck kept finding ways to do nothing with it. It was so frustrating because it seemed like he was in the right spot most of the time, just completely unprepared to do anything when he got there. This is the kid that scored a ton of points last year. He is clearly capable of being an impact player at the OHL level from an offensive standpoint, but the 2 games I've really watched and keyed in on him this year were really, really rough. And we talked about Ethan Belchetz and how his skating last year a lot of times was stomping around on the ice and really just digging in and not getting a whole lot of places.
Yeah.
With Roobroeck this year, I was watching it and I went, he's not really stomping around. He's not clunky and like slamming his skates into the ice like he's angry at it. He's gracefully gliding around and not doing a whole lot. So I want this guy to succeed because I think there is a good hockey player that could be there with some of the skills that he does possess. But in the couple of games I've watched this year, it's just not being put together in any way, shape, or form. So people are going to be high on him. I am probably not.
That's the one I would also say as well. When I've seen him, I feel like the other thing too is he's old for the draft class, and I have not really seen a whole lot of growth in his game from last year. Like I remember watching him last year and thinking, all right, like he's a decent skater for his size. He's got a really good finishing ability, but like not really that much of a play driver, kind of needs a supporting cast. And in the time since, I don't think anything has really shifted for me, but I mean, obviously I'll be watching him significantly between now and the end of the year, because if you have a take like that, where you have a guy top 10, maybe he's top 15,
the problem.
You just have to sort of be absolutely positive that that's how you feel. And
the guys,
we'll see.
The guys that I watch the most every year, the guys that I'm so far different on than consensus, right? Like whether it's a guy like Roger McQueen last year, Owen Power a few years ago, like I watch more games of them, because when I come out and say I don't like this aspect of their game, or there's a massive concern I have about them, I want to have like multiple instances over a long period of time where I watch them and I go, it happened here, 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 and here. Like, I don't want it to be like I watched a bad game and that's my judgment for the rest of the year. So I'm gonna watch Ryan Roobroeck way more than I want to this year, and I hope it turns around, because there's been guys in the past where the start of the year I come out and I'm like, I really don't like this guy, and then it turns around and he's pretty solid by the end of the year. So I certainly hope that's the case with Roobroeck.
All right, let's bang through some questions for half an hour and call it a night. Someone mentioned off the top that the Sharks need to build a blue line from here out, which is, I think, very true. Who do you think what do you see the Sharks more likely to do, trading for someone or drafting someone? I mean, I'll say this, like, it should be both. Like, I think if I'm San Jose, I think you see what's out there for a trade. Like, you got Jake Wallman for nothing, and he was a pretty nice guy to have lying around for a while. So who knows what comes into your lap out of nowhere, you know?
Got Timothy.
Yeah, they have Timothy Liljegren, but also, like,
Still
you also have
sad.
I mean, and you also, like, at this point, if you're the Sharks and you're drafting a defenseman, unless you have another stinker of a year and you end up drafting a Keaton Verhoff, or I don't know who else would be in the NHL.
Maybe
Chase Reed maybe could be a guy that could crack the NHL relatively soon from what I've seen, but I'm not holding my breath. I think if you're San Jose, it's like, okay, you have your young guys that are already entrenched in the league. Are you still saying, let's draft and develop another guy to add to this pile for 3 years down the road? I think you're in that phase now in San Jose where it's like, okay, we got to start investing stuff into what we've got now and think less about the future. But I do agree, like, you can do both. You can fill your defensive gaps with both. Yeah.
Like, it's going to be interesting because, like you said, there's not many defensemen that I think can jump into the league. And I think this is just defensemen as a whole quickly. Like, it's not a thing that happens very often. So, I don't know, Keaton Verhoff, Malte Gustafsson, like, maybe he's a guy that they draft. But again, like, I think a couple years away at least. Like, you're not getting a guy that's immediately making an impact. So, go target. You know what? If you're San Jose, target some cast-offs from other rebuilding teams that maybe aren't working out the way they were hoping. Like, what's going on with a guy like Kevin Korchinski in Chicago? Like, they've sent him down again. Obviously, I don't think they give him away, but maybe that's the kind of project you go and try to get. Like, those are the kind of players I think San Jose should target. Young guys that are a couple years out from the draft now that haven't quite cracked that NHL roster yet. And I think there's plenty of them around the league.
Yeah, and you never know who's going to be available. Like, Keandre Miller's now a Carolina Hurricane.
Yeah, exactly. You never know. Someone mentions it says Harry Nancy season, and Harry Nancy, 8 points in his first 6 games. We like that. It makes us look smart, so it's correct.
We're all Harry Nancy lovers.
Yeah, we're all big fans.
I talked to Harry Nancy the day before his season started, and he said he wants to hit 20 goals and 20 assists this year, and I think he's well on his way.
He's getting there.
That's awesome.
Real fast.
When he told me that, I literally looked at, like, I was talking to him, and I was like, I think you're gonna be okay.
Yeah, I think you're good. All right, buddy. Oh yeah. All right. So, friend of the show, Harry Nancy. There we go. That's
awesome.
Great. Yeah. Who do you like for the Calder besides obviously Demidov? I mean, I think there's a lot of contenders. Like, I mean, I think a lot of people are throwing Nikishin out there, but I mean, Sandy Pellica, if he sticks, I could see it. I mean, whoever gets power play time.
Exactly. That's exactly.
Koivunen on the first line playing with Sidney Crosby.
Yeah, there's always a guy like a Koivunen who doesn't get any love that, like, just has a great situation.
Yeah.
And
I hope for his sake that he does get considered.
I think Sam Dickinson maybe could make some moves in ways people will notice. Jimmy Snuggerud maybe. I don't know. It's going to be very interesting, I think. I don't know. Do you have anyone in mind, or do we move on?
It could be Zane.
I think we move on.
Perez.
I'm so excited to see the Battle of Alberta this year because now there's 2 Evan Bouchards on the ice.
I mean, it's very kind of you to Evan Bouchard. Which one? Who knows? Hot take. I don't think Zane Parek's going to be in the conversation because I think Calgary is going to be hot dog.
Stuff.
Yeah.
Well,
possible.
yeah, they're going to be.
It's crazy.
But
there's a lot of people that think they're going to be great. Like the Rod Peterson show. You know, the thing I make my money doing.
maybe, right? Like Dustin Wolf, if he is the best goalie in the league, anything is possible, right? Like,
listen,
I don't know.
Dustin Wolf has won goalie of the year in every league he's ever been in.
Yes.
Oftentimes, multiple times.
Yeah.
Yep.
So who knows? Maybe it's
Who knows?
Vesna season Dustin Wolf this year.
It's also possible that teams adjust because I think sophomore slumps are a result of, and I mean this across all major sports leagues, there being more tape on you at the highest level of competition, and it's easier to, well, now you know that this is a big part of what makes a team, or like in the sense that you got to take care of this problem because they didn't have it figured out before. Like Jordan Binnington wins a Stanley Cup in his first year, and I bet a lot of that has to do with the fact that, yeah, he went on an incredible hot streak, but there was just not as much tape on him.
Like,
Yeah.
I mean, crossing over to a different sport, there's a reason the Blue Jays took out Trey Savage as early as they did, despite him dominating.
Yep.
Because his arm angle is silly and the splitter and slider go weird. So don't put that on tape more often than you need to. And you were up 12 runs at the time.
Yes. I think that also had a lot to do with it.
Yes.
Yes. All right. So, this leads into someone. We got a couple of questions about this. I wonder why Tampa would claim a 6'9" tough guy, Curtis Douglas, from waivers when they play in Florida again soon. I mean, that game was it's always fascinating when games like that one happen because it is simultaneously so good for the sport, but also so bad. Like,
yes,
it got so out of control. Multiple games got completely out of control, and like the who is worse competition and like who deserves it more competition is so dumb to me. Like, it's so dumb, and it's always this, like, the fake macho stuff in hockey always just is so frustrating to me, right? Like,
but you
when
have
it
to
becomes
be fake macho in order to win, Will.
I know.
Both
like,
these rosters have won in the 2020s because they're macho.
Because they're macho,
nothing to
right?
do
It's
with
why the Ottawa
roster
Senators
construction.
signed Nick Cousins.
Right.
So he can slash the crap out of Ivan Demonov's wrist after missing a hit.
In preseason.
Like,
yeah, so
stupid.
it is just really dumb. And so, look, I mean, I was talking to an NHL person today, and they were like, well, I guess NHL teams are now again obsessed with the idea of a goon. Like, the guys who were around, but like, no, but like the guys who were around in the 90s and 2000s when that was like a must have are now the GMs of teams, right? Like, Bill Guerin was a menace, and now he's a GM of a team. And so you're seeing this like trickle down effect where they're like, well, you got to have beef in the lineup. You got to have a set of fists that you're willing to send a message with. And it's like, okay, like, fair enough.
I mean,
there's a reason we moved away from that, but like, by all means,
bring back Fraser McLaren.
I think we all look at the way that a guy like Judd Brackett is drafted anywhere he's been, whether it's Vancouver or Minnesota, and you go, man, he seems to draft smart, really good hockey players. But Bill Guerin is the GM, and they drafted Charlie Stramel in the first round because he's huge. And he said at the draft, after drafting him, well, we've drafted a bunch of small guys, so we need to add some size, someone who can really give some jam, and if he needs to, drop the gloves. Sure.
Right.
Like, why? Why not, I guess? So drafting Windsor Spitfire, or claiming Windsor Spitfires legend Curtis Douglas off waivers is certainly a move.
yes. I mean,
former Toronto Marley and Dallas Stars draft pick.
at the end of the day, it all comes out in the wash, right? Like, he's probably not a full-time NHLer. It is what it is. Like, whatever, you just kind of move on. But like, I think here's what my thing is more about that game in general, and like how absolutely insane and dumb the NHL can be. It's like, I think you not only have to increase the fines that players pay just across the board, but I think you should start fining teams. Like, if you have a situation,
Tampa got fined. The team and John Cooper.
How much? I don't know. I didn't know this,
Was
but
it
how
like
much?
$100K or something?
Yeah, it was a lot.
Okay, I think you got to jack that up. That's like $3 per seat in the arena, right? Like, I don't know. I see that as like, it's preseason. The games don't matter. It's not like, I don't know. I just think that it is, and also, yeah, you mentioned the Nick Cousins, Ivan Demidov thing, right? Like, if you're a guy on the outside and you want to send a message, there is an incentive for you to, and what's going to happen, right? Like, you get suspended, like Sabarin got suspended. Like, when is he ever going to serve a 4-game suspension in the NHL, right? Like, it's just not going to happen. So I don't know. It's just a little bit, okay. So yeah, you're right. 100K for the team, 25 for Cooper. Cool.
Yeah.
You know, but like, to me also, like, I'd probably raise that and fine both teams. Like, it doesn't matter. It's like a fight in school. I don't care. You know, you both did it. like, I don't know. It's like, okay, like, you got to send some kind of message, because it's a little bit, it got a little bit crazy, and I get it. It's good for the sport. People love it, you know, but I don't know. It's a fundamental disagreement for me, at least, with like what is enjoyable in the sport. And I don't know. I love a good, hard, competitive player. I think anybody who watches this show knows that. But I think there's a very big difference between that and
being stupid,
calling up a Curtis Douglas to be a goon that just sends a message for form, like Matthew Rempe role, right? Like, if that's what's coming into the NHL now, I would be more than happy to be the GM of a team that goes, yeah, we're not doing that.
Hey,
you know, we're going to put a gap.
It was a sensation, a media sensation.
Right.
We'll
I would much rather
that happened around Rempe. It was so funny.
I would much rather have a Gavin Brindley in that job every night of the season, right? And he's a competitive kid too. He competes when it matters, right? Like, that's my big thing. So yeah.
One thing that I found funny in searching up John Cooper and seeing what the fine was and everything was Eduardo Encina is a Tampa Bay Lightning beat reporter for the Tampa Bay Times, and he tweeted out that the league finding the Bolts and John Cooper, the DPS's one-side suspensions, it all came out the same day that the Panthers rings were unveiled that have inscribed in the inside of it, "We apologize to no one," with Tampa Bay, Toronto, Carolina, and Edmonton all crossed out inside the ring.
I mean, that's kind of awesome. Not gonna lie,
Which is amazing.
I don't hate that at all. I think that's wild.
So I love that.
Yeah,
but it's funny.
It's awesome
that the Panthers somehow didn't get anything out of all that.
Yeah.
No, they got rings. That's what they got.
Yeah, they did. Yeah, they got,
fair enough.
Their Stanley Cup rings are plugging their ears.
Yeah, because they have 2 of them.
Yes, that is the joke.
They have
all right, let's see. What else do we have in here? Yeah. Okay, this is a little bit off topic for the show. What's the greatest rock song of all time? My answer is easy. Rock Lobster. Easy.
Yeah, because you got that stuck in your head before the
show.
Well,
that too. Yes, but you know, there's no song like it.
The greatest rock song is of all time.
Yeah, I don't. I'll pass. I don't. Really,
I mean, I've been obsessed with the song from the end of Superman, Punk Rocker.
Does Meshuggah count?
Does that count?
Yeah, maybe. That song was pretty good in that movie. It's a good spot. I'd throw extreme metal band Meshuggah in there with Future Breed Machine. That song rules. But I don't think that's what this person is asking. Which country flag is the best and which is the worst? I should know this off the top of my head. AJ, do you have any ideas? I would say Uganda. Uganda has a pretty good one. They've got a pretty nice state flag. Bahamas. The Bahamas. I think it's one of the only ones with teal and gold on it.
Yeah.
You know,
it's tough because all my answers are biased. Like, I love the Italian flag because white and red. Like,
Africa's got
for it. It's just a team I grew up cheering for in soccer. So I just love. I'm biased and I like my own countries, okay, in terms of flag design. But I also like the States flag as well.
Kazakhstan, the African continent.
You know what? Kazakhstan wins.
Yeah,
Kazakhstan wins.
Kazakhstan and Kyrgyzstan are pretty fire. The African continent, though, by and large, pretty good.
Yeah.
Top to bottom. They've got.
I was gonna say North Macedonia's fun. It's just, I mean, Gibraltar just has a castle on it.
Yeah,
because that's all it is. That's literally.
Yeah. South Korea's is clean.
It's cool.
Mongolia, you know.
In hockey terms, I really like Slovakia.
Yes.
Yeah. You know which one sucks? I know AJ just gave it a compliment, but the American flag.
I like it.
I hate it. It's on too many t-shirts.
I just
Well,
like it.
That's not the flag's fault.
I
just
hate
like
the
it.
flag because
That's
it's
your-
on
that's a you-
every. Yeah, it's a me issue.
That's a you
It is a
issue.
you issue.
Get it off your stupid swim trunks.
Oh boy. Well, that's true. Yeah, it doesn't deserve to be there.
I just like it.
Let's see.
I thought you were gonna come out and attack our Italian flag, and then I was gonna really
No.
provoke your
The Italian
card.
flag's clean. It's clean. It's simple. It doesn't need to be anything more than it is.
Exactly.
Best action movie of all time. I know my answer to
I don't
this
have
right
an
off the top.
answer. I don't
Total
really watch
Recall with Arnold Schwarzenegger. Easy. That's number one by
It's a
far.
good
I
one,
would
man.
if I was in a Black Mirror universe where I could only watch one movie every day for the rest of my life on repeat, it would be probably
Really?
Total Recall. Yeah,
Wouldn't
that
be
movie.
Superbad or Anchorman. That's
No.
what- I would pick one of those.
Total Recall is fun from the first. The scene, one of my favorite shots in cinema is when they first show Arnold Schwarzenegger in that movie when he's on the construction site with his buddy and he's got the jackhammer and he's all sweaty and he's just going at her. It is the funniest thing.
You
Opening
like
introduction.
a sweaty Arnold. Gotcha.
Of course, who doesn't like a sweaty Arnold Schwarzenegger? The guy is enormous and he's got a little jackhammer and he's just going like it's the best. It's the best movie ever made, top to bottom, easy answer.
You like it more than Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure?
Yes.
Will?
Oh yeah.
Oh
Miles.
gosh.
Miles.
I was gonna say one of the first two Kingsman movies. No one
Ah.
talks about them,
Those are
but they're
good.
fantastic. The
You know
first
what?
two.
I love
Let's
the
not go crazy with the other ones, but
Yes, the first
The
one.
first two are
especially I loved.
fantastic.
Yeah.
I only saw the first. That's
They're
because
alright.
that's when my parents could force me to go out to started saying and being a
Mhm.
homebody.
I really liked Nobody as well with Bob Odenkirk, and
Oh, yes.
I liked the original John Wick and the third John Wick. Also, the Mission Impossible movies. I also like; those are great. I just recently on the weekend watched the newest one at home, and I don't know. I mean, I think they kind of jumped the shark, but you kind of watch those movies for the stunts these days, and those in that movie were, let's just say, claustrophobic, and they were
Yeah.
awesome. It was really good. Is Die Hard a Christmas movie? No, because Santa's not in it. That's my belief. It's
Ooh.
just a movie that happens at Christmas time, but Santa's not in it, so it's not a Christmas movie.
it's fair enough.
Yeah, that's my belief.
I've never once cared about that debate enough to
That's
actually
true.
care.
Yep.
But aren't you the whole hot dog guy? Aren't you the big on the hot dog debate, or is that someone else? Am I mixing
That's
up names?
Rayanne, is it
The-
not
Oh,
the
it
hot
is.
dog
Yeah,
sandwich?
yeah, that's true. He talks about
Oh,
hot
yeah.
dogs. Friggin'
No,
guy.
the only thing that Tony does with hot dogs is put peanut butter on them.
That's true.
We're talking about real
I only
hot
did that
dogs.
once this summer. I only did it once this summer.
This summer, yeah.
The rest of the time was just traditional toppings.
Good.
Damn.
As it should
Oh,
be.
I got an Italian sausage from Farm Boy today. I
You
should have put
got a
peanut
sausage?
butter on it.
No,
Yeah, I
see,
did.
you can't do it with the sausages. 'cause
No,
they
I know. It's not the same.
seasoning. It's got to be just a good classic all beef dog.
Yeah, Kirkland all
beef.
beef hot dog.
It's gonna be one of Nathan's famous dogs.
It doesn't.
Exactly.
Well, it doesn't work with pork. I tried it with pork one time by mistake. Horrible.
Yeah.
It's just beef.
An all beef dog.
All right, we got to bang through this and get AJ out of here because he's got to go to bed like a
Yeah.
good boy.
I got
Uh,
I gotta wake up at 5 a.m. to get to work
Yeah.
at 7.
What's the most impressive playoff debut in a sport you've ever seen, and how close is you Savage on the weekend? I don't watch much baseball, but even I was
That's
sitting
gotta
there
be
like
up
in
there.
awe.
Yeah, that
In
was
awe.
fantastic.
Um,
The one I'll bring up is Cale Makar when he jumped from college to the
Oh.
NHL.
yes,
He was fantastic, and I think that's the one, at least from recent memory, that popped up for me.
yeah, for sure.
Yeah,
what
7
else do we-
strikeouts at like the 3rd inning, and then how many did he end up finishing?
6 in a row.
Yeah, it was
He had
ridiculous.
6 in a row,
Ridiculous.
and he's younger than you, AJ.
Yeah, he is. He's younger than
Insane.
3 or 2 years. 2 years.
Yeah. Okay. Would you watch an NHL Big Brother show?
No, I hate Big Brother.
That would be agonizing.
It's such a stupid concept.
They
A
would just
bunch
I
of
don't
guys
get it.
being like, "Oh, you just did a good job today. Like, good job on the challenges."
It might. I mean, the challenges might be fun. I mean, I don't watch a bunch of Big Brother, but it could be fun. The competitive nature. They are competitive people, that's for sure. Okay. Let's see what else is here that is interesting.
Yeah, if we don't answer your question, you're not interested.
Yeah, exactly. We gotta really focus here.
Yeah, sorry.
But I mean, we got a Ben Kindle thing here as well. I mean, we could glaze him. He's worth glazing.
Kind of did.
Yeah, we kind of did.
We're excited, and he's awesome.
Yeah.
Boom.
I'm very curious. I agree about the 6'8" London defenseman Maxim Sokolovsky. He's on the list for this week as well.
Kazakhstan.
Yeah, exactly. Okay, we'll close on this. We'll throw it over to AJ because he hasn't spoken much this show.
That's okay. I've been half dozing off sometimes.
No, I know exactly. But what's the most Italian thing you've ever said or done?
What's the most Italian thing I've ever said or done? Honestly, I don't even know.
It's when you pick up the Discord call and you go, "Hey!" That's super
When
Italian.
have I done that?
I feel like you've done it at least a handful of times.
I don't remember doing it.
I'm pretty sure you did that when I joined this call right now.
Did I?
Like I joined the call. We'll go just in time, and you're like, "Hey!"
Maybe that's it. Maybe I just don't think of it as Italian because it's just me.
When we went to the Brampton Steelheads game, he went to the desk at the hot dog stand and asked for gabagool.
No, I didn't. I did not ask for the capicolo. Okay, I did not.
Hey, I want the gabagool.
You know, aftershave.
So I actually asked my dad why I'm named AJ, and he said it's because of the Sopranos character. Part of the.
Oh, you're named after a Sopranos character?
It's partially that, you know. Like,
I'm so old. Oh my god.
Yeah.
Oh boy.
Partially. They picked that name because they had come up with the names Alfredo for my grandfather who had passed a couple years before, and my great grandfather Jacob who had passed before as well. So they wanted to give me both of those names, and then they thought, oh, AJ, perfect. So that's why they called me AJ.
Well,
now there's AJs everywhere. Like when I was a kid, there was like no AJs. Now everywhere I look, there's an AJ in like football and hockey or whatever. It's just like, great. Now my name's not cool anymore. My brother has a name that like still nobody has, Jonah. I think that's now AJ's a basic bitch name. I don't like it. I want my name back. I want it to be unique again.
You can make your name whatever you want.
Actually, I'll close on this. My 4th grade teacher named her child after me. Not even a joke. She son AJ the year after I was in her class.
Were you the child's father?
No.
Is that legal?
No, she just thought the name was cool.
That's crazy.
I remember our school doing a in the announcement page, Mrs. Going has given birth to her son AJ. The year after, and she's like, and I remember her complimenting. She's like, AJ is the coolest name ever. That's what she said. It's the coolest name ever. So she named her son AJ because of me. Well, as a 4th grader.
Assuming any police officers are watching this, you should start an investigation.
Yeah, that's.
I swear, I've never diddled anybody.
Oh boy.
Anyway. No, I don't think you're the one on that side of it.
I don't think it's you. I'm more worried about your teacher.
Yeah.
He's my favorite teacher.
Oh,
I wonder why.
Okay. Thanks for joining us. This was a really great show up until we started getting into the darkness of the world.
Hey, it's time for bed.
Yeah, and it's also time for AJ to go to bed and dream about his 4th grade teacher or something.
That's not what I'm going to be doing. I promise you that.
But thanks for joining us, Tony. Thank you so much. Tell people where they can find your work or whatever you want. I don't care. Or do nothing and we'll just leave. Thanks for joining us. It's always a hoot. We'll have you back on soon and tell the people what to do with you.
You know where to find me by now. I've been on here enough. I don't want to plug it all.
Right. Yeah. Fair enough.
Yeah.
All right. We'll be back in like 2 weeks, probably.
Yeah, probably.
2 weeks.
Yeah.
2 weeks sounds good.
2 weeks. Yeah, we'll get you on a rotation like Lady Gaga.
Maybe we get Sam on next week if he's.
I'm gonna come dressed in a meat suit like Lady Gaga.
Yes, I'll do the same too. I'll be Bjork and the Swan. That's our Halloween costume.
You're dressed in a meat suit. Dressed in a meat suit. Things AJ's 4th grade teacher said to him.
Yeah, actually, I do have a Halloween costume for this year planned, so hopefully it's going to be sweet. But anyway, thanks for joining us. We'll see you Thursday afternoon, 2 p.m. Eastern time. Thanks again for joining us, Tony. Again, you're the best. You're the man. Thanks for joining us. Enjoy the start of the NHL season,
And
and we'll see you soon.
with the start of the NHL season, Leafs for Cup. Goodbye.